Hello and welcome to Baum Walker Hall. Today I'm going to show you our lighting positions and give you a quick tour of the space. Located on either side of the stage is a SM panel that gives us lighting control for our work lights as well as our house lights. Taking a quick look at our work lights, we can see that we have stage right and stage left works, as well as stage right and stage left grid works. These 4 buttons control the overhead lighting above the stage in Baum Walker Hall. For shows, and the sake of safety, we always want to keep on the aisle lights. Aisle lights are the small lights that you can see at the foot of each section of stairway. The pin rails are located up above. There are 2 pin rail areas on either side of the stage for tying up picks or cable that run off of the end of these battens. In order to work at height, you must have attended our at height training, but it is still important to understand, even if you haven't, what these positions do and where they are. This is a glimpse of our stage right SM panel. You can see that the lighting controls are very similar to that of stage left. These buttons have the same lighting positions as stage left, as well as house light control. However, there are some more options on this side that are geared towards sound that are not present stage left. Another unique feature to stage right is we have our pit power control. This should be only used by staff members or experienced local crew. This control allows us to raise and lower our front apron or pit area here. Another unique feature to stage right is the fly rail. You must have completed fly rail training in order to use the fly rail, or you can kindly ask our staff flymen to lower in battens and electrics. Upstage on stage right is our access to the grid. This spiral staircase runs all the way up to the pin rail, stage right, and beyond up to the grid where the riggers work. Next to this spiral staircase is our sound power station. You must be a full-time staff member to tie in cam power. Moving along the upstage wall, stage right to stage left, we can see that there are a number of power options here. We have traditional Edison power. A number of wall outlets are convenient for adding equity lights for actors in case this area is used as a crossover during a show. We also have a number of classic stage pin dimmers with their numbers. And we have also access to our lighting network. These ports can be utilized to plug in gateways, which can allow more DMX control by adding universes. We also have what appear to be normal Edison plugs, but are really relays that can be controlled by the light board. As we move to stage left upstage, we can see another control box for lighting. It is typically used for automation. We also have a second port that is used to connect to the lighting network. Near the automation power box, we have a second option for sound power, located stage left against the upstage wall. As we slowly turn, we can see the entrance to stage left, as well as our elephant doors. These elephant doors have a curtain that can be open and closed. This curtain is controlled by a pulley system. Stage left, we have 2 boxes for lighting power, as well as a dimmer control patching area. Basically, we can renumber our dimmer numbers here. This stage left area typically has our orchestra shell. When it is not in use, it is stored here. We also have an open space, stage left, that can be used to set up workstations for the tours. It's important to note that above this doorway are some hooks for running cables. We also have a light switch that controls the lights in this small alcove area manually. Stage left, we also have the special feature of having a gateway built in. This is an excellent way to connect to our light board without using an extra gateway. And we still have some lighting plugs to add more gateways if needed. We are now going to explore our front of house positions as well as our box boom and catwalk positions. We are starting stage left at the SM panel. You can see a vertical ladder that runs to the pin rail. This has been installed in case of emergencies only. As we cross through the doorway, stage left, we can see there is a staircase that leads us down to the pit orchestra area. There is a wheelchair lift in case it is needed for one of our musicians. Here there is also a spiral staircase which will lead us up to the catwalks, pin rail, as well as our box boom positions. As we continue up this spiral staircase, we will see our first landing. This landing takes us to the house right, stage left, box boom positions. There is a light switch that controls the lights in this area, and it can be controlled from the SM panel as well. The box boom positions have ladders that lead us up to different positions. You must be trained at height and be trained in the use of a harness as well before using these positions. However, you may be sent to this initial ground level position as a helper to someone who is working up above. Whenever a person is harnessed up, they will take this carabiner and they will latch it onto the back of their harness leash before climbing the ladder. This is a house rule. You absolutely must be harnessed in before climbing any of the ladders in the box boom positions. There is also in this near box boom position an opportunity to connect to our lighting network with use of a gateway. There are also dimmers. However, these stage pin dimmers have repeating numbers, so it is important to note this while cabling lights. By the opening is our lighting pipe that we can hang lights on. Typically, we hang source for zooms in these positions. However, that can vary from show to show. It is important, though, that sidearms are used when attaching lights to the lighting pipe. This will allow clearance for the light to get past the architecture and shine on stage. As we continue forward to the far stage left box boom, we can see that it is very similar to the near position. However, there's a couple extra features here that are worth noting, such as the dog door. This door opens up to the balcony rail position, so cables can be run from lights that are hung on the balcony rail through this dog door. We also have a pulley system installed on each side of the box booms in the far box boom for lowering lights. Located near the far position, near the railing, is a courtesy power or traditional hot power. Now that we've explored the stage left, house right box boom position, we are going to go back to our spiral staircase and continue upward. As we reach the second and final landing of our spiral staircase, we can see that there is a door to the right. That leads us to the pin rail. Let's go take a look. We can see a series of ropes here that are used for tying off lighting picks. Again, you have to be trained to work the pin rail position. The pin rail has power boxes that are relays. That means that they have an Edison tail but must be controlled by the light board. We also have 3 lighting network plugins available on the stage left pin rail. As we exit the stage left pin rail position, we can see there is a control for the pin rail lights that is manual. It can also be controlled from the SM lighting panel. Now that we have exited out of the pin rail area, we are going to walk across a catwalk that is known as the sound catwalk. This catwalk cannot be utilized for lighting due to the architecture here, but it is used for our sound cluster. So motors are typically hung at the center here, and you can see the cables for them there on the ground. The sound center cluster is a series of speakers that are pointed out into the house. We are now continuing towards a staircase that is in front of us. We can see our stage right access point. That spiral staircase runs down to the stage right area. We also have access to this stage right pin rail here. At the bottom of this staircase, there is a fire extinguisher as well as a lighting control for the overhead lighting in the catwalk areas. Now we're going to go up this staircase and show you the catwalks. As we go up this staircase, we can see we are going above the sound catwalk to a landing. As we walk forward, we can see there is a small ladder that leads us down to the near catwalk position. Why do we call it the near catwalk? Because that is its reference point to the stage. I have carefully gone down the ladder to our near catwalk position. We can see that there are a number of dimmers here that are clearly labeled. Looking at our tails and our lighting raceway, we can see there are 2 different types of numbers. There is a regular number there to the left, 50. It is a stage pin dimmer, and it is controlled by the light board by address, or if it is patched, by channel. And then we have an H before the number. The H could stand for house or it can stand for hot. Either way, as soon as you plug into the ones labeled H, there is hot power. However, this power cannot be controlled by our light board. It was originally added to the system for work light or house light. So we no longer use these when hanging for front light for shows. We use the regular numbers only. As we move along our raceway, we can see that there are a few Edison tails present along the raceways. These are controlled by the light board and are relays that can be turned on and off by their DMX address. About midpoint on the near catwalk, or at center stage below, we have another lighting gateway option. As we come to the end of our catwalk area on the near catwalk, we can see that there is a pulley system that has been installed here, and it is to bring lights up and down to the catwalk position without having to carry them up the spiral staircase. At the midpoint of the near catwalk, we can see that there is another staircase that is again leading us up above. This is how we can access the far catwalk. It is the only way to access the far catwalk from the near catwalk. So let's go up these stairs and explore. Now that we've reached the top of this staircase, we're going to follow alongside the railing and go down this second staircase to access our far catwalk. As we go down this second set of stairs, we can see that we are on equal ground to the near catwalk, but it is a up and over crossover to access this point. We have identical lighting tail raceways, different numbers, but the same concept with hot power as well as our dimmer power. Our gateway is not at center, but rather at house left on the far catwalk. And this is an area where we store our 10-degree source 4 barrels. All lighting fixtures that are front of house are typically 19-degree source 4s. This can change from show to show, but the house rep always has 19-degree source 4s for front light. We can see that there's a pink stripe on the yoke of this light. That is to indicate that it is a 750 watt lamp. The farther away we are from the stage, the higher the wattage that we use. So that is to say our source for zooms that are located in the box booms use 750 watt lamps. The 19 degrees at the catwalk positions use 750s, as well as lights that are typically hung on the balcony rail. Again, as we near the end of the far catwalk, we can see that there is a pulley system that has been installed here as well for lowering and taking up lights. Each catwalk has one lighting gateway that is already a port, and the other is a port like this in which we can use an Ethernet cable to add a gateway. Now we are going to return back up this staircase and go explore our spot booth area. As we continue to the end of the catwalk, you will see that there are some offshoots that go out to little jump areas. These positions are not typically used. Occasionally we have used them for snow effects, dropping confetti into the house. Occasionally we have had some lights hung here. However, it is a position that is transitioned to become a lighting position, which means that there is no power up here. And you must walk with caution because there is a little upward step to get to these positions. Chances are you will not be sent over to these positions, so for the sake of reducing any accidents, let's not explore these areas. But when we get to the end of our railing, moving away from the stage, we can see there is a ladder and a trap door. This trap door and ladder lead us directly into our spot booth. In this area we have some work lights. We have our catwalk lights. So I've come down this ladder here, and again we have another connection to our lighting network at the foot of the ladder. As we turn slowly this way, we can see there's a chain and a drop off into a empty closet area. This is called a hoist room, and what it's for is to hoist the parts of the spotlights up to this position in case they ever need to be repaired or removed. And it's a very simple pulley system to use. This pulley slides back and forth, and typically we keep the hoist room empty as well as locked to keep patrons from coming in to this area. It's important to remember that the hoist room has its own light, and we want to prevent as much light bleed as possible. So please note this light switch right next to our chain here. It controls the light that is right above the hoist. Taking a quick tour through our spot booth here, we have 3 spotlights. And as you can see, there are spot tags that are left by our tours here. That is perfectly fine. We expect our tours to want to leave these little mementos. This room up above also has track lighting, and that is controlled over by our cabinet and our shelving area here. We have a dimmer that controls the light of this room. And you can see there's a little ladder over by the staircase that leads us to the balcony. This little ladder takes you up to a door, and this tiny door is used for accessing the rooftop area. Typically, the rooftop area is only used for construction purposes, so please make sure that this door remains closed. To the right of our spiral staircase downward, we can see there is another light switch that is important to note if you are up in the spot room. It is the above light above the staircase that is controlled here, and there is another light switch at the bottom of the staircase that controls this same light. So let's just go down these stairs and take a look and see how we can get into the spot booth more traditionally than a trap door. As I come down this staircase, you can see there is the light switch I was talking about with a convenient little note to remind our spot ops to please turn those off. And we can see that it is important to keep this spot room door closed because it attaches to our balcony rail seating area. So this is the view from the balcony rail. Quite lovely, isn't it? Well, now we're going to go down to the bottom of this staircase and take a look at our balcony rail positions. At the edge here, we can see there's a note to please not place any objects on top of this wall area here. Now, as we lean over the wall, we can see there are two different pipes here, and there is a centered position that is marked with a light, as well as a lighting gateway down here and a sound power. It's also used as camera power. And we typically mount our projector here to point at the center of the stage. As a house rule, we do not access the balcony rail ledge without a safety harness. You will need a longer lead line leash and to be trained to use a harness and work at height before working at the balcony rail area. Now, you can stand where I am standing on the opposite side of the wall and reach over to focus the light, or perhaps drop a gel or plug in some electrical device. However, you may never cross over the wall without a harness. As we lean over the wall, we can see that our raceway is a little bit different than our raceways up in the catwalk because there are no tails here, but there are plugins. These plugins are stage pin and clearly numbered. On each far end, there is a dog door. Again, this is the dog door that leads into the box boom. As we retreat back down towards the stage, down the catwalk staircases, it is important to note that if you are a taller individual, there have been tape marks set as a warning just for you. Look out, please don't hit your head on these I-beams. You may have to duck while going back down the stairs from the catwalk area. And as we retreat down the staircase here from the catwalk area, we can see our stage right pin rail area. Unlike the stage left, there are several bricks stowed here, so it's very important to use caution when crossing this way. We can also see there is an additional spiral staircase back there that takes us up to the grid area where the riggers work to drop points for our scenic pieces. We can see there is our sound catwalk that brought us up from the stage left side up the stage left staircase. So now we're going to go down the stage right staircase to get a full tour. At the top of the staircase, it's important to note there are lights that control the box boom areas as well as the catwalk. So again, our first landing here brings us to the stage right box boom. There is a light switch here that controls the box boom lights. And it is identical to the other side with our lead line attached to the ladder here for harness work, our series of ladders that lead us down to different levels as well as up in the box booms. We have the repeating dimmer numbers on those raceways as was on the other side, and we have our lighting network plug-in as well as a relay. We have an inventory of source for zoom lights available that are commonly used from the box boom position. And as we go to our far box boom position, we can see that there is that identical dog door. And again, we have here our pulley system ropes from the far box boom that are identical to the other side that can allow us to bring lights up and down. Well, let's just take a glance and see for perspective how far into the house you have to come to reach that drop down point. So now we've returned to that light switch that controls the stage right box booms. We're turning those off. And we are going to continue down the spiral staircase to the ground level that will bring us to the stage. In this stage right alcove area, we have storage for span sets. This is not identical on the other side. This is only stage right, and we keep rigging hardware as well as sandbags in this area. So now we are going to exit out of that doorway that takes us back onto the stage and cross center. And we have gone full circle all the way around the positions of the theater. There's our stage left box booms. There's our balcony rail area with our position for projections. And up there, that box up there that is now dark, that is our spotlight position that we visited earlier. And looking straight back up from center stage, we can see that we've got our sound catwalk motors there for hanging the center cluster of speakers. We have our near catwalk, and we have our far catwalk that we explored earlier. So let's just take a moment to note our exits as we look from center stage. We are looking out house right. The stairs on the edge of the stage are removable. They are typically taken out during shows unless an artist is going to go visit with our audience. And we see our first exit here. This particular exit leads us into a room where there is a wheelchair lift that is operated by a member of facilities. And as we look up our aisle, we have a house right, stage left exit that leads us straight into the lobby. As we pan to center here, we can see that there is a control booth area, and that is for sound, lighting, and video to run the show from. And as we look stage right or house left, there is another exit that is leading us directly into the front of house lobby. And there is an exit over here that takes us out towards the hallway that leads to the rose garden. It also will take you near the gallery area that is located front of house. And looking upward in our balcony rail area, we can see that we have 4 exits, 1 on either side and 2 at center. And these are clearly marked with our aisle lights. Thank you all so much for joining me on my backstage lighting tour. This is our house in its nighttime night light look, and I hope to see you all next season.